Imagine you wake up tomorrow and everything in your life, your career, your relationships, your finances, even your health, is exactly the same, except one thing. Your mind has been completely replaced with someone else's. Not their memories, not their voice, but their thought patterns. Their automatic beliefs about themselves, about the world, about what's possible and what's not. If you inherited the mindset of a high-performing, disciplined, purpose-driven leader, do you think your life would still look the same 6 months from now? And if you inherited the mindset of someone constantly doubting, fearing, procrastinating, would you expect your life to stay the same, or to quietly unravel? The truth, and the central insight of James Allen's As a Man Thinketh, is that your mind is the architect of your destiny. Not a metaphorical architect, not a poetic suggestion, but the actual, causal driver behind every experience you have. The life you're living right now is the harvest of seeds planted in your mind, some deliberately, some by accident, over years. And the life you'll live in the future is already being shaped by the thoughts you're dwelling on today. James Allen, writing in 1903, put it simply, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." This wasn't a new idea even then, it echoes the book of Proverbs and ancient philosophy. But Allen's genius was in taking this timeless truth and making it practical. He stripped away superstition and showed that there is a law of cause and effect in thought just as real as gravity. Modern neuroscience confirms what Allen intuited: our thoughts physically rewire our brains. Every time you think a thought, you're strengthening a neural pathway, making that way of thinking more automatic. This is called neuroplasticity. If you think, "I'm capable, I can handle this," you reinforce a mental habit of courage and problem solving. If you think, "I'm doomed, nothing ever works out for me," you strengthen a habit of helplessness. Over time, those habits determine the actions you take, and the actions you take determine your outcomes. Most people believe their life is primarily shaped by external events: the economy, their upbringing, politics, chance encounters. And yes, circumstances have influence. But without the inner architect of thought, circumstances are like bricks without a builder. Two people can face the same setback, say losing a job, and react in completely different ways. One spirals into despair, stops looking for opportunities and slowly sinks into a rut. The other treats it as a challenge, networks aggressively, learns new skills, and ends up in a better role than before. The difference is not luck or connections, it is mindset. Allen's point is that we are not passive clay being molded by life. We are, whether we know it or not, the potters, shaping our experience from the inside out. Think of your mind as a garden. If you plant roses, you get roses. If you plant weeds, you get weeds. If you plant nothing, nature will still fill the soil, usually with weeds. Your dominant thoughts are the seeds. Your actions are the growth. Your results are the harvest. And you can't plant one type of seed and expect a different harvest. You can't sow resentment and reap peace. You can't sow laziness and reap mastery. You can't sow doubt and reap confidence. This isn't a moral judgment, it's simply the way the mind works. A noble and godlike character is not a thing of favor or chance, but is the natural result of continued effort in right thinking. Let's bridge this with modern science. Researchers studying cognitive behavioral therapy have found that changing thought patterns literally changes emotional states and behaviors. If you habitually interpret events as threats or personal failures, your brain stays in a stress response, releasing cortisol, narrowing your focus and draining your energy. If you habitually frame challenges as opportunities to grow, your brain releases dopamine and norepinephrine, enhancing creativity and motivation. Allen didn't know the neurotransmitters, but he understood the principle. Your inner narrative drives your outer reality. Some people misinterpret this principle and think it means you just have to think positive, and your problems will vanish. That's not what Allen taught, and it's not how the brain works. This isn't about sugarcoating reality. It's about choosing thoughts that are aligned with truth and growth, rather than ones that paralyze you. For example, "I failed once, so I'm not cut out for this" becomes, "I failed once, so I've learned one way that doesn't work. I can try again, smarter." Both acknowledge the failure. Only one creates forward motion. Right now, pause and take inventory of the 3 thoughts you've been repeating most often this week. Be honest, don't censor them. Are they empowering? Neutral? Self-defeating? If you want to master your destiny, awareness is step 1. You can't direct a river you refuse to see. Once you notice a thought, you can question it, reframe it, or replace it. But until you notice it, it runs your life in the background. There's a story about a master architect who was famous for building beautiful homes. Late in his career, his employer asked him to design one final house, but gave him a tight budget and timeline. The architect, tired and distracted, decided to cut corners. He used cheaper materials, skipped careful inspections, and rushed the work. When the house was finished, his employer handed him the keys and said, "This is your retirement gift. You built it for yourself." The architect was stunned. He had to live in the very house he had carelessly built. Our minds work the same way. The thoughts we choose today are the materials we're building tomorrow's life with. Careless thinking builds a fragile house. Careful, intentional thinking builds a home we actually want to live in. Your mind is not a passenger, it's the driver. Circumstances can change, opportunities can open or close, but the quality of your thinking is the one constant you carry everywhere. If you change that, everything else will eventually shift to match it. You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. Where are your thoughts taking you? If your mind is the architect of your life, then your character is the structure it builds. Character is not just a set of moral virtues like honesty, patience, or discipline. In the context of Allen's philosophy, character is the total sum of your habitual thoughts made visible in action. It's the invisible blueprint turned into the visible building. You can't hide your true thoughts forever. Eventually, they express themselves in your behavior, your decisions, and the results you get. A man is literally what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts. He's not saying your character is shaped by your education, your job title, or even your intentions. He's saying it's shaped by the actual content of your thinking, day in and day out. Modern psychology backs this up. The concept of self-schema in cognitive science describes how we build mental models of ourselves based on repeated thoughts. These models influence everything from how we interpret events to how we set, or fail to set, goals. If you constantly think, "I'm unreliable," your brain will unconsciously align your actions to match that belief. If you consistently think, "I keep my word," your brain will seek to prove that true. Character is both the cause and the effect of thought. It's a feedback loop. Your thoughts shape your actions. Your actions reinforce your self-image. Your self-image influences your next thoughts. Break into that loop at the thought level and you can reshape the entire cycle. If you've always seen yourself as bad with money, you might avoid learning about finances, reinforcing poor habits. But if you deliberately adopt the thought, "I'm learning to be good with money," you create room for new actions, reading a financial book, tracking expenses, which then reinforce a more empowered identity. Here's why philosophers insisted that character determines destiny. Life inevitably tests us. Circumstances shift. Opportunities come and go. The only thing that consistently influences the outcome is who you are when those moments arrive. If your character is disciplined, honest, and resilient, you will handle adversity differently than if your character is impulsive, deceptive, and fragile. And character is not fixed. You can cultivate it through the deliberate shaping of thought. You've probably heard the phrase, "You are what you eat." But even more true is, you are what you mentally consume. If you spend hours each day absorbing content that fuels cynicism, outrage, or envy, don't be surprised when those qualities appear in your character. Conversely, if you feed your mind with ideas, challenges, and examples of courage and kindness, you're laying bricks in the kind of person you want to become. This is the hidden curriculum of life, the quiet, ongoing training of your mind through your daily thoughts. There's an old story about a sculptor working on a statue. A passerby noticed him chipping away at a large block of marble and asked, "How do you know what to cut away?" The sculptor smiled and said, "I can already see the figure inside. I just remove what's not part of it." That's what shaping your character through thought is like. The best version of you already exists in potential. Every time you reject a self-defeating thought, you're chipping away at what doesn't belong. Every time you choose a thought of courage, integrity, or discipline, you're revealing more of the figure within. In neuroscience, repetition creates automaticity. The brain, being efficient, wants to turn repeated thoughts and actions into unconscious habits to save energy. This means your character traits, whether patience, impulsiveness, empathy, or arrogance, are not random. They are neural habits sculpted by repeated ways of thinking. Want to be more patient? Don't wait for patience to appear. Start rehearsing patient thoughts in small, daily moments. Want to be more confident? Feed your mind evidence of your competence and take small actions that align with it. Take a piece of paper and write down 3 traits you admire in others and want to cultivate in yourself. For each one, write a single thought that would support that trait. Discipline: I keep my promises to myself. Courage: fear is a signal to move forward, not back. Kindness: everyone is fighting a battle I can't see. For the next week, repeat each of those thoughts daily and look for opportunities to act on them. You're planting seeds for that version of yourself to grow. Beware the trap of double-mindedness. If you think, "I want to be trustworthy," but allow yourself small dishonesties, your mind becomes conflicted. This double-mindedness drains energy and weakens character. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, the discomfort that comes from acting out of alignment with your beliefs. The solution isn't to lower your standards, it's to bring your thoughts and actions into harmony. A Native American elder once told his grandson, "There are two wolves inside you. One is anger, envy, greed, arrogance. The other is peace, love, humility, kindness. They are constantly at war." The boy asked, "Which wolf wins?" The elder replied, "The one you feed." Your character is the wolf you feed with your thoughts every day. You can't escape the law that thoughts build character and character shapes destiny. If you want to change your life, ask, what kind of person do I want to be when no one is watching? What thoughts must I plant daily to become that person? You don't get the life you want by chance. You get the life your character can handle, and your character is built, one thought at a time. If your thoughts create your character and your character shapes the way you live, then the next question is obvious. Do your thoughts create your circumstances? Allen's answer was both bold and nuanced. He didn't claim that you can wish yourself into any situation by thought alone. He wasn't selling fantasy. Instead, he argued that your inner world and your outer world are inseparably connected. Circumstance is the mirror of the mind. He wrote that one is buffeted by circumstances so long as one believes oneself to be the creature of outside conditions. But when one realizes that one is a creative power, able to command the hidden soil and seeds of one's being, out of which circumstances grow, one becomes the rightful master of oneself. In today's language, if you see yourself as a victim of your environment, you will act like one, reactive, powerless, dependent on luck. See yourself as the creative force behind your life, and you start noticing opportunities, making better decisions, and influencing your surroundings in ways you never imagined. Modern psychology calls this reciprocal determinism, the idea that behavior, personal factors, and environment all influence one another. If you believe, "I'm resourceful," you'll take initiative. That initiative produces results which reinforce the belief. The strengthened belief leads to even more resourcefulness. But if you believe "nothing I do matters," you'll avoid effort. Lack of effort produces poor results which reinforce the belief. The cycle deepens, trapping you in stagnation. This is why two people in the same situation can experience completely different realities. Two prisoners looked out from behind bars. One saw mud. The other saw stars. Same cell. Same walls. Same lack of freedom. Different mindset, different experience. One focused on limitation, the other on possibility. The one who saw the stars kept his mind free, even if his body was confined. Thought does not work by magic but by cause and effect. Your thoughts set in motion a chain. Thoughts create attitudes. Attitudes influence choices. Choices shape behavior. Behavior interacts with the environment to create outcomes. The process may take months or years, but it's no less real than planting seeds and waiting for the harvest. Blaming external conditions for our situation often blinds us to the very changes we could make. Say, "I can't succeed because of the economy," and you close the door on resourcefulness. Say, "I can't be happy until other people treat me differently," and you give away the keys to your emotional state. Outside conditions matter, but the most reliable lever you have is your own thinking, and it's the lever you control all the time. Many recurring external difficulties reflect unresolved patterns of thought within. A person who constantly distrusts others may find themselves surrounded by untrustworthy people, partly because they push away those who are honest, and partly because they interpret ambiguous actions as betrayal. A person who believes they're unworthy of success may repeatedly sabotage opportunities, arriving late, missing deadlines, or undercharging for their work. From the outside, these may look like bad luck, but on closer inspection, they're the natural consequences of inner beliefs. Psychologists have studied this as self-fulfilling prophecy. When a belief about yourself or the world influences your actions in ways that cause the belief to come true. One famous study found that when teachers were told certain students were gifted, randomly assigned, those students actually improved more over the school year because teachers unconsciously gave them more attention, encouragement, and challenging work. In life, we are both the teacher and the student, and the beliefs we hold are the labels we respond to. Think of one recurring challenge in your life: financial stress, strained relationships, or missed opportunities. Ask what thoughts or beliefs might be feeding this pattern, and how you might be acting in ways that confirm those beliefs. This isn't about blame, it's about power. If you can trace a difficulty back to its mental root, you can plant a different seed. A farmer noticed that the same pests kept ruining his harvest every year. He blamed the weather, the market, and the insects. An older farmer pointed out, You keep planting the same crop in the same field without rotation. You're creating the perfect environment for those pests. The younger farmer changed his planting strategy, and the pests disappeared within 2 seasons. Our recurring problems are often like that field. Without changing the mental crop we plant, we can't expect the pests to leave. What about situations we truly can't change? Illness, loss, or events on the global stage. We may not choose the storm, but we choose how to sail in it. We may not control the wave, but we control the skill with which we steer. 2 people can go through the same hardship, and one emerges bitter while the other emerges wiser and more compassionate. 2 thought habits are especially powerful for transforming circumstances. Gratitude, which shifts attention from what's missing to what's present, opening emotional energy for action. And a solution focus, which trains the mind to look for the next step instead of dwelling on the obstacle. People who maintain these habits bounce back faster from setbacks not because they face easier problems, but because their minds stay open to possibility. Men do not attract that which they want, but that which they are. When you change your habits of thought, patiently, deliberately, the reflection changes too. And even when it doesn't change on the outside, your perception of it does, and that perception is half the battle. If your thoughts shape your character shapes your circumstances, and your circumstances shape your experience, there's a critical question left. Where are you aiming all of this? You can have a powerful mind, a disciplined character, and a decent set of circumstances, and still drift through life if you have no clear aim. Purpose is the steering wheel of thought. Without it, we're like a ship with strong sails but no rudder, moving but at the mercy of the wind. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. A mind without a clear purpose scatters its energy. It gets excited by new ideas one day, discouraged the next, distracted by minor setbacks, and lured off course by shiny opportunities that have nothing to do with what truly matters. Link your thinking to a definite purpose, and you filter out distractions, channel your energy, and direct your habits toward a meaningful target. Motivation science shows that having a clear, intrinsically meaningful goal activates higher levels of persistence, creativity, and resilience. Purpose multiplies your mental power. Without it, you can be busy but unproductive. With it, even ordinary actions take on extraordinary impact because they're aligned. It's the difference between digging random holes and digging one deep well until you strike water. Imagine sailing at night in a storm. The waves are high, the wind is fierce, and visibility is low. Without a fixed point of reference, you could turn in circles for hours, burning through your energy and making no progress. The moment you see a lighthouse, every decision becomes easier. Steer toward the light. Purpose is that lighthouse for the mind. Without a central purpose, your mind becomes vulnerable to every passing influence. Other people's opinions, fleeting desires, random moods. This is why so many talented people never fulfill their potential. They have the skills but not the aim. Define your purpose. It doesn't have to be grand at first, it just has to be clear enough to guide your decisions. Start with a single, definite aim. Something that engages your mind, aligns with your values, and improves your life or the lives of others. Ask, what do I deeply care about? What am I willing to work for even when motivation fades? What do I want my daily efforts to add up to over the next 5 to 10 years? Write your own purpose statement in 1 or 2 sentences. Make it specific enough to guide you but broad enough to grow with you. My purpose is to help others unlock their potential through education and storytelling. Or, my purpose is to build a thriving business that supports my family and creates opportunities for others. Post it where you'll see it daily. Every time you face a decision, ask whether it moves you toward your purpose or away from it. When you have a purpose, your thoughts naturally organize themselves around it. Without purpose, your thinking is like a river with no banks, it spreads out and becomes shallow. With purpose, the banks form, channeling the current into a strong, directed flow. People with a clear why often appear more focused and energetic because their thoughts aren't fighting each other. They're pulling in the same direction. Life will test you. There will be obstacles, delays, and detours. Without a strong purpose, these challenges feel like reasons to quit. With a strong purpose, they feel like part of the journey. Purpose can evolve over time. The aim you set in your 20s might shift in your 40s. The key is to always have a purpose that challenges and inspires you now. They who have no central purpose in their life fall an easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pity. Purpose doesn't guarantee a smooth journey, but it guarantees a meaningful one. Up to this point, we've been exploring how thoughts shape character, circumstances, and purpose. Allen made another claim that in 1903 was radical. Your thoughts influence your physical health. Today, psychoneuroimmunology confirms that your physical state is constantly responding to the signals sent by your brain, and your brain is constantly shaped by your thoughts. If you dwell on stress, resentment, and fear, your body lives in fight or flight mode, flooding your system with hormones that suppress immunity, increase inflammation, and accelerate aging. If you cultivate calm, gratitude, and optimism, your body shifts toward rest and repair mode, releasing chemicals that support healing, vitality, and resilience. The body is the servant of the mind. It obeys the operations of the mind, whether deliberately chosen or automatically expressed. Chronic stress is linked to higher risks of heart disease, diabetes, and more. Positive emotions and purpose improve immune function, speed recovery, and even increase life expectancy. Meditation, visualization, and gratitude measurably reduce stress markers like cortisol and blood pressure. Doctors have long known the placebo effect. Patients improve simply because they believe they're receiving treatment, and the nocebo effect, where negative expectations cause worse outcomes. Belief triggers biochemical changes that either support or hinder healing. Your mind is not just a passenger in your body, it's in the driver's seat. The mind-body connection isn't only about dramatic cases. It's the small, daily influences, how a stressful commute tightens your shoulders and elevates your heart rate, how laughing with a friend relaxes your muscles and boosts immune function, how imagining failure before a presentation can make your palms sweat and your voice shake, even before you speak a word. Notice your body. Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw tight? Are you breathing shallowly? These physical states often reflect mental states. Trace them back. What have you been thinking about in the last few minutes? Becoming aware of the link gives you power to interrupt it. Relax the muscles, take a deeper breath, and choose a calmer or more constructive thought. Toxic thinking can create a downward spiral. Negative thoughts create stress. Stress weakens the body. A weakened body makes it harder to think clearly and positively. The cycle repeats. Breaking it often requires working on both fronts. Improving physical health through rest, nutrition, and exercise while shifting mental habits. The good news is that the connection works upward too. Positive thoughts improve mood. Better mood encourages healthier actions. Healthier actions improve physical condition. Better health feeds back into optimism. Change of diet will not help the person who will not change their thoughts. Guard the mental atmosphere as carefully as your diet. For the next week, treat your thoughts like meals. Before letting a thought dwell in your mind, ask whether it is nourishing or toxic, whether it feeds health or drains it. This isn't about avoiding all negative thoughts. Pain and grief are part of life, but about avoiding needless rumination on what doesn't serve your mind or body. If your thoughts were a daily prescription for your body, would you want to keep taking them? We've seen how thoughts shape your body, your character, and your circumstances. The direction of your thoughts determines the height of your life. If the mind is the architect of destiny, then vision is the blueprint. Without a vision, your thoughts wander. Without ideals, your vision shrinks to the size of your comfort zone. Cherish your visions. Cherish your ideals. Cherish the music that stirs in your heart, the beauty that forms in your mind, the loveliness that drapes your purest thoughts. These are not just poetic lines, they're a survival strategy for the human spirit. The brain is a prediction machine that constantly scans for information matching its dominant focus, attentional bias. If your mind is filled with small worries, it will find evidence to confirm them. If your mind is filled with a noble vision, it will filter reality in ways that align with that vision. The reticular activating system in your brainstem acts like a filter, deciding which pieces of overwhelming data around you reach conscious attention. Feed it with a powerful vision, and you prime your mind to notice opportunities, people, and patterns that serve that vision. A life without ideals drifts into mediocrity. Not because you can't achieve things by accident, but because without direction, you end up working on other people's visions, following other people's scripts. Without a vision, even successes feel empty. Imagine hiring an architect to design your dream home. If they say, "Let's just start building and see what happens," the result will be chaos. That's what living without vision is like. Vision answers where you're going. Ideals answer how you will travel. Ambition without ideals can become destructive. Ideals are guiding stars. You may never touch the star, but its light keeps you on a worthy path. Elite performers use vision and ideals as part of their mental conditioning. Athletes visualize victories in vivid detail. Entrepreneurs envision the world their company will help create. Artists hold an inner picture of beauty they strive to express. Mental rehearsal activates many of the same neural pathways as physical practice, creating a performance advantage. Set aside time and write a detailed vision for your life 3 years from now. What you're doing, who you're surrounded by, how you feel when you wake up, which values guide your decisions. Be specific. The clearer your vision, the more your mind can work toward it unconsciously. People may laugh at or criticize your ideals, especially if they are lofty, because high ideals expose low ambition. Hold your ideals anyway. Protect them like a flame in the wind, with quiet conviction. In the early 1900s, the idea of human flight was widely mocked. The Wright brothers' vision was audacious, but they held it, refined it, tested it, and eventually the first flight took off. Less than 70 years later, humans walked on the moon. It started with vision, then ideals of perseverance, integrity, and relentless learning. Don't trade the star for the street lamp. A street lamp can light your next few steps, but only a star can guide your whole journey. Each morning, ask what one action you can take today that aligns with your highest ideal. This keeps your ideals from becoming abstract dreams and starts shaping your behavior in small, consistent ways. Alan saw vision and ideals as spiritual anchors. When you hold a noble vision, you're aligning yourself with the upward pull of human potential itself. Now we arrive at the unbreakable link between cause and effect. Every thought is a cause and every condition is an effect. This is not superstition or magical thinking. It's the recognition that the mental seeds you plant inevitably grow into the harvest you live with. We easily see cause and effect in the physical world. Drop a ball, it falls; strike a match, it lights. In the realm of the mind, the link is less obvious because a thought today might not bear fruit for months or years, but it will bear fruit. Harbor resentment long enough, and you will see its effects in your relationships. Nurture curiosity and optimism, and they will open doors in ways you couldn't have predicted. The delay is why many fail to connect thought and outcome. They think life is random when it's simply running on a slow feedback loop. Repeated thoughts literally reshape your brain. Neurons that fire together wire together. Negative thought loops deepen grooves of fear and self-doubt. Empowering loops reinforce patterns of confidence and creativity. Because thoughts influence emotions and emotions influence behavior, the thoughts you rehearse become the habits you live by, the true architects of your destiny. Imagine two sculptors. One sculpts in marble, the other in clay. Your daily thoughts are like the clay stage, you can still reshape them. Once thoughts harden into habits, into character, they become like marble. Much harder to change, but still a reflection of the work you've been doing all along. You're always sculpting. The only question is what you're sculpting. This principle echoes through the ages: as you sow, so shall you reap. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The Stoics insisted that we cannot control events, only our judgments about them, and those judgments create our experience. From ancient scripture to modern therapy, the consensus is the same. Your inner world is the cause, your outer world is the effect. This breaks the illusion of luck. Opportunities pass in front of everyone. Some people have trained their thoughts to recognize and act on them. Others are blinded by doubt or distraction. To the untrained mind, this looks like luck. To the trained mind, it's the law in action. For 1 week, carry a small notebook or use your phone's notes. Every time you notice a recurring thought, write it down. At week's end, label each thought as constructive, neutral, or destructive. You'll likely find a small handful of destructive thoughts dominate more than you realized. These are the seeds you must stop watering. Big life changes rarely come from big sudden causes. They come from small, repeated causes over time. Skipping one workout doesn't ruin your health. Skipping hundreds will. One moment of gratitude won't transform your life. Living in daily gratitude will. Thoughts compound like interest. A single negative thought might not destroy you, but the compounding effect of many will poison your potential. Conversely, small positive thoughts, repeated daily, create exponential growth in your abilities, relationships, and happiness. When you notice a destructive thought, don't just try to stop it. Replace it. "I always mess this up" becomes, "I'm learning to handle this better each time." Replacement is key because the brain resists a vacuum. You can't just yank out a weed, you must plant something better in its place. The law of cause and effect isn't about blaming people for everything that happens to them, it's about reclaiming creative power. You may not be responsible for the initial cause of a hardship, but you are always responsible for the thoughts you choose from here forward. That choice becomes the new cause that shapes your future. Once you grasp this law, you stop feeling like life is happening to you and start seeing how it's happening through you. Every thought is a seed. Every emotion is water or poison for that seed. Every action is a harvest waiting in the future. Become a conscious gardener of your mind. Philosophy without application is like a beautifully drawn map you never use. Alan gives us a philosophy of mental mastery. Now turn it into daily practice, because it's not what you think once in a while that matters, it's what you think, feel, and act on every day. Start your mornings by priming your mind. Upon waking, before reaching for your phone, sit up, breathe deeply and tell yourself, "Today I choose thoughts that build me." Spend a few minutes visualizing yourself handling the day's challenges with confidence and clarity. If you have a specific goal, picture yourself taking one concrete step toward it today. Keep it short. The key is daily consistency. Keep a thought audit journal. Throughout the day, jot down thoughts that repeat or trigger strong emotion. Classify them as constructive, neutral, or destructive. In the evening, review and circle the most frequent destructive thought of the day. Apply the replacement technique to it. Stopping a thought is nearly impossible. Replacing it is practical and effective because your brain hates a vacuum. Identify the destructive thought and create a believable, constructive, future-oriented replacement. Repeat the replacement whenever the old one appears. Over time, the new thought becomes the dominant neural pathway. Close your days with a brief reflection. Your brain processes and consolidates information during sleep, so ending with constructive focus strengthens it. Spend a few minutes reviewing your day and ask what thoughts served you, what thoughts held you back, and what one thought you want to carry into tomorrow. End with gratitude for one specific thing, no matter how small. Once a week, perform a bigger picture reset. Look over your journal, identify patterns, and choose one mental theme to focus on for the upcoming week. Patience, courage, resourcefulness. Write this theme somewhere visible. Treat your mental inputs like a diet. Information is raw material for thought. Limit your intake of toxic news or arguments. Curate your feeds and books toward constructive, challenging, and uplifting material. After consuming something, ask whether it energizes or drains you. Adjust your environment to support your mind. Remove visual reminders of past failures or negative associations. Add cues that prompt constructive thoughts, quotes, photos, objects tied to goals. Spend time around people who embody the qualities you want to develop. Build a habit of pause and choose. When triggered, take one slow breath before speaking or acting. Ask, what thought will serve me best right now? Proceed with the chosen thought in mind. This simple pause is the doorway from reactivity to intentional living. Refine your vision monthly. Review what you wrote in segment 6 terms. Does it still inspire you? If not, adjust it. Keep it emotionally charged. You should feel something when you read it. Anchor your thoughts to a purpose bigger than yourself. Write a simple statement, "I use my mind to," and finish it with something that excites you and serves others. Place it where you will see it daily. Consider a brief case. Sarah, a 32-year-old designer, felt stuck. She started with 2 practices, morning priming and a thought audit journal. In 90 days, she replaced her most common destructive thought, "I'm behind in life," with, "I'm building my life step by step." She landed a new role aligned with her creative vision. Friends noticed she seemed calmer and more confident. Sarah didn't change everything at once. She changed her mental diet and everything else followed. The quality of your life will be determined not by a grand breakthrough, but by the small, repeated mental choices you make every day. There's a quiet moment that comes after deep realization, a stillness where you recognize you've crossed an invisible threshold. If you've stayed through this journey, you've already begun that crossing. The ideas from As a Man Thinketh are not just poetic phrases, they are the blueprint for building the life you truly want. It's time to leave the realm of ideas and step into deliberate creation. Picture your mind as a vast construction site. Every thought you think is a worker on that site, some building structures of possibility, others tearing them down. Every day, construction happens. The only question is what you're building. Most people let random workers, random thoughts, wander in and shape their future without supervision. Then they wonder why their life feels like a mismatched, half-finished structure. Now you know better. You are the architect, the foreman, and the chief builder of your destiny. This is bigger than you. Every thought you refine doesn't just affect your own life. It changes the way you show up for others. When you shift from fear to courage, from resentment to understanding, from self-doubt to self-trust, the ripple travels outward. Relationships change. Work changes. Your ability to inspire, lead, and serve changes. Mastering your thoughts is not selfish. It's one of the greatest contributions you can make to the world. Right now you are at a choice point. You could walk away inspired but unchanged, letting these ideas fade into the background noise of life. Or you could take the next step. Not by overhauling everything overnight, but by choosing one single practice from this toolkit and making it part of your life starting today. One thought pattern. One vision. One morning ritual. One consistent, intentional change in thought will lead to another and another until one day you look around and realize the life you're living was consciously built, brick by brick, in the workshop of your mind. A year from now you will look back on today. Will you think, I'm glad I started, or will you say, I wish I had? You are today where your thoughts have brought you, you will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. That isn't just philosophy, it's a navigational law. If you want a different tomorrow, steer your thoughts differently today. Here is a simple challenge. For the next 30 days, choose one central thought you will return to again and again no matter what. Write it down. Keep it visible. Repeat it in moments of doubt. Watch what happens. This isn't magical thinking. It's consistent mental direction. You are aligning the compass of your mind so that, over time, your life follows. We live in a world full of noise, distractions, and fear-driven messages that try to rent space in our minds. But your mind is sacred territory. From this moment forward, guard it with the same care you would give to your most precious possession, because it is your most precious possession. Self-control is strength, right thought is mastery, calmness is power. Strength, mastery, power, not traits you are born with but qualities cultivated patiently one thought at a time. As you leave this masterclass, picture yourself 1 year from now. Your days feel different. Your mind is sharper. You meet challenges with calm, not panic. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. Goals that once seemed impossible now feel inevitable, because you've become the kind of person who naturally creates them. It all begins here. The decision to think differently, to live deliberately, to take the role of master architect of your own destiny. Your thoughts are the first cause of everything you will ever experience, and every moment is a fresh chance to choose them wisely. Guard them. Shape them. Let them shape you into the person you know you are meant to become. The rest of your life is waiting. Start building it now.